Aries, if you're hearing this right now, it's not a coincidence. There's a reason you stopped in the middle of millions of sounds in this world to listen, not to me, but to yourself through this voice. Maybe you're tired, maybe you've lost direction, or maybe, deep down, you just know. You're standing at the edge of something greater, something sacred. Tonight, the universe wants to send you a message, a quiet reminder that nothing you've been through was ever meaningless. Every tear you've shed, every door that closed, every silent day that felt empty, they've all been recorded in a higher place, a place where miracles are written. So, don't leave just yet, because if you're still here, it means your soul is ready to hear what God has been waiting to tell you. The truth that silence was never the end. It was only the preparation for your most divine beginning. There's something mysterious about life, Aries. When everything seems quiet, when the phone stops ringing, when every door closes, when your prayers feel like they're echoing into nothingness, that's the moment the universe gently places its hand on your heart. Not to take something away, but to rearrange the tired layers of your energy. To others, it may look like you're alone, but to the angels, it's the moment you're being purified. I've seen many strong souls like you, warriors of Mars, collapse midway through their journey, whispering to God, "Why are all the doors closing when I've tried so hard?" But the truth is, the doors didn't close because you were unworthy. They closed because an old world has reached its end inside your soul. And before the new one can open, you must learn how to stand still in the dark without losing faith. Silence is never punishment. It's spiritual surgery, the sacred time when the universe removes the fragments of pain that have rooted too deeply in your mind. It's like standing in the middle of a forest at night. No voices, only wind. And suddenly, you hear your own breathing. That breath that's life itself. A quiet reminder that you are still being cared for, even when you can't see the hands holding you. I know you've walked through long, colorless days when faith flickered like a dying candle. But then, one gentle breeze, and the flame rises again, small, yet warm enough to light a corner of hope. That's the first sign, Aries, the sign that you're being called back. Not to start over, but to begin again with a soul that's been cleansed. Think back to those nights you couldn't sleep, those moments you wanted to disappear. It was then that you were actually being kept here, because the universe never loses a soul that is learning how to awaken. The silence you fear is really the cloak that God wraps around you to protect you from the noise of the world. Those chosen to carry light cannot be shaped under the loud sun of day. They are forged in the darkness, in the quiet hours where no one sees, but everything within is being rebuilt from the roots. If you are in that quiet season now, don't run, sit with it, breathe slowly, feel your heartbeat. Every beat is proof that you are still being guided, even if the path ahead has no light yet. Sometimes, to hear your soul's voice, you must walk through a season without words. Sometimes, to see the way forward, you must learn to trust in the dark. And sometimes, to be prepared for a miracle, you must accept that this moment right now is the universe holding its breath before exhaling something divine. Aries, if you're living in that silence, don't assume the universe has forgotten you, because truly, that's when God is the closest, bending down, touching your heart, whispering things only patient souls can hear. Some miracles don't arrive with thunder, they come in the soft breath of midnight. Some beginnings don't start with light, they start in the deepest shade of darkness. And you, Aries, you are standing right there in that sacred space where night and dawn are separated by just one breath. Hold your faith the way you would hold the warmth of a candle. Because in the quiet, your energy is being reborn. In solitude, you are being protected. And in silence, something extraordinary is being written for you in a language only awakened souls can understand. When you can give thanks even for the silence, you've already passed the first test of your soul. And soon, very softly, you'll begin to notice signs. A dream, a glance, a sudden intuition, something moving beneath the surface. It may not be clear, but it will be enough for you to feel the universe has begun to speak to you again. And those signs, Aries, they are always the most tender, the most subtle, seen only by the ones who have learned how to be still. On days when it feels like nothing is happening, when the world goes quiet and time moves so slowly you can hear your own heartbeat, that's not emptiness, Aries. That's the universe rearranging itself around you. Many people fear stillness because they've grown addicted to motion, to noise, to doing something, anything, just to feel alive. But life doesn't always roar in sound. Sometimes, it whispers softly between the pauses. I've met many Aries souls made of fire, born to move, to lead, to push forward. And that's why, when the flow suddenly stops, they panic, thinking they've lost themselves. But in truth, they're being guided back to the origin of their soul, where everything quiets down, to realign, to rebalance, to be reborn. It's like a jeweler holding up an old piece under the light, wiping away the dust of time, polishing each edge until it gleams again. You are that gem, Aries. And the universe is cleansing you of the layers of fear, rush, and worry that have dimmed your shine. So don't panic when things fall silent. Silence isn't the ending, it's the comma in a great symphony, the moment when every instrument stops, just before the music swells into something breathtaking. You may feel lost in a space between worlds, but that's not confusion, it's recalibration. Like a violin being tuned before the concert begins, every old sound is being adjusted so the next melody can be clearer, deeper, truer. There are mornings when tears fall for no reason, nights when you dream of faces long forgotten. Don't overthink it. That's the language of your soul speaking. When you dream, when you sit in stillness, when your heart aches without knowing why, that's when new energy is downloading. The universe never speaks through noise. It speaks through wind brushing your skin, through warmth rising quietly in your chest, through the lightness that comes after a vivid dream. And if you pay attention, you'll notice the signs. A song from the past plays at the perfect moment. A stranger smiles like they've known you forever. Numbers repeat on the clock. None of it is random, they're reminders from the universe. You're on the right path. The world doesn't move by logic alone, it moves by the rhythm of the soul. And when you become still enough, you can finally hear that rhythm clearly. It's like standing by the ocean at dawn. The wind is soft, the water shimmers slowly as the sky brightens. No loud sound. Yet everything in you begins to move. Awakening always arrives like that, not loud, not dramatic, just a small light slipping quietly into the darkest corner of your heart. I know you get tired sometimes. Tired of believing with nothing to hold on to, but true faith doesn't need evidence. It needs a heart soft enough to feel, even when it cannot see. And the moment you stop asking, when, you've already stepped into the season of being blessed. Silence is the place, language of souls that are ready. Only when you stop running from it will you finally hear what the world can't say, that everything is aligning so you can meet what's meant for you. When I look back at the times I was most uncertain, I realize it was the silence that turned my life around. An unsent letter, a missed call. A person who vanished, they were all whispers saying, "Don't run, we're clearing the path." So if you're living inside your soul's quiet now, let it work. Don't rush to turn on the light while the dawn is already on its way. Let the light of the universe find you in its own timing, in its own rhythm. Because every spiritual growth needs its silence, the way a lake must be still before it can reflect the sky. And when you start to feel that subtle trembling inside, that sense that something is shifting though you can't name it, know this: it's the first signal. New energy is moving through your field, soothing old wounds, awakening something deep within. From that moment on, life won't be peaceful in the old way. It will begin to stir quietly, steadily. People who once felt close may drift away. Places that once felt right may lose their pull. And that's when you'll finally see an old layer is falling away. Your soul is stepping into a new light. Everything familiar begins to fade, not because you've lost anything, but because something new is drawing near. There are seasons in life, Aries, when everything you once held dear seems to slip through your fingers so light you can't grasp it, yet so heavy it leaves your heart hollow. People leave, work fades. Dreams that once burned bright, they lose their flame. And you whisper, why is everything disappearing at once? But the universe doesn't take to punish you. It takes to free you. This is test 2, the detachment from the old you. It's the moment when everything that once defined you begins to fall away. Old habits, old relationships, old beliefs peeling off like a serpent shedding its skin. If you find yourself no longer fitting where you once belonged, if the passions that used to ignite you now feel heavy, don't panic. It's not the end, it's evolution. Your soul is raising its frequency, and what no longer vibrates at your level simply cannot stay. I know you tried to hold it all together to fix what was breaking, to hold on to someone who was already walking away, to pretend that fine was enough. But every time you tried to grip tighter, it dissolved even faster, because the universe will never let you cling to something that's no longer aligned with your destiny. It hurts, I know, because letting go isn't weakness, it's sacred courage. But this loss didn't come to empty you, Aries. It came to clear the space for what's meant to find you. Sometimes losing something is the universe asking, are you ready to live in truth now? When there's nothing left to prove, you begin to live honestly. When there's no one left to please, you begin to listen to your soul. And that is purification, the process of coming home to yourself. Then comes test 3, the fire of inner chaos. You were born of fire, Aries. And fire, in its purest form, doesn't just destroy, it transforms. It burns away illusion. It reveals what's real. You may feel like everything is collapsing, plans falling apart, stability slipping, dreams turning to dust. But in that chaos, something sacred is happening. The fire is remaking you. People think fire only consumes, but it also refines. It turns metal to gold, and it shapes the soul into something unbreakable. Every time you stand inside your pain without running, you are reborn. Every time you exhale instead of scream, release instead of resist, trust instead of hate, you allow the holy fire to finish its work. Perhaps you've woken in the night, staring at the ceiling, and whispered to yourself, who am I, if not everything I've built? The answer lies in that silence. When everything collapses around you, your soul finally has the room to reintroduce itself. You are no longer the one who must prove, chase, or fix. You are the one who is being born from within. Chaos is not the end, it's the beginning of a new order. A forest must burn before new life can grow. Dawn only rises when the night has burned itself out. Sometimes, heartbreak is the disguise of great love. The universe loves you enough not to let you stay stuck in what has expired. When the person you trusted most walks away, when the place you leaned on crumbles, when the dream you built falls apart, don't curse it. What you're witnessing isn't punishment, it's the deepest cleansing of your soul. And amid the ashes, look closely. Your heart still beats, your eyes still shine. And somewhere in your breath, there's still a tiny spark of faith. That spark is new life forming. When you walk out of the fire, you're never the same. Your voice softens, your gaze deepens, your spirit grows calm. Not because you've lost emotion, but because you've understood that everything comes and goes for a reason. The old world is breaking apart to make space for the truest version of you, the one who no longer fears, no longer clings, but stands steady in clarity. And as the fire fades, in the fine dust of the ashes, what remains is not pain, but understanding. Understanding of who you are, of what truly matters, of the kind of wisdom that only fire can give. Then, somewhere within the warmth of those last glowing embers, a light appears, small but radiant. A light not from the world outside, but from within your chest, the very place that once burned. That light carries peace, and it will guide you forward to where every question finds its answer, to the moment when understanding itself becomes the greatest gift your soul has ever known. Sometimes, Aries, the deepest lessons in life don't arrive through victories, but through moments when you're turned away. Those times you gave your all to someone and they left without a word. Those moments you believed in an opportunity and the door slammed shut right in front of you. And you sat there, in silence, wondering, was I not enough? If you've ever felt that way, Aries, know this: it wasn't rejection, it was a test of your inner worth. The universe doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you the chance to see who you are when everything is out of your control. Because sometimes, to help you see your own light, the universe has to turn off every other one around you. When others can't see your value, it doesn't mean you've lost it. It means your light has simply grown too bright for their eyes. Those who aren't deep enough won't see the gem in the mud. Those who aren't awake yet can't understand a soul that's being reborn. I've met many people like you standing right on the edge between pain and awakening. They told me about being rejected, dismissed, forgotten. But one quiet morning, they looked into the mirror and realized, I'm still here, I'm still breathing, I'm still me. That tiny moment, so simple, so human, was the first time their soul began to return. Rejection was never rejection, it was redirection. The universe was guiding you away from places you no longer belonged, because if you stayed, your light would have been dimmed by artificial ones. Maybe you begged someone to stay, prayed they would understand, tried your hardest to be seen, to be chosen. But Aries, you were never meant to be chosen. You were meant to shine. No one else has the authority to define your worth. That's yours, and yours alone. This is test 4, the mirror of self-worth. Every no, every cold glance, every door that closed wasn't punishment. It was a mirror. And mirrors don't hurt you, they show you what you need to see. If, when you look, all you see are flaws, it's only because you've forgotten the light that's already there. But if you dare to look deeper, truly look, you'll see a soul that's walked through fire, stood tall in loneliness, and loved even when that love wasn't returned. And that, Aries, that's real beauty. You don't have to prove anything. Worth isn't in compliments, it's in peace. It's in knowing you're living true. When you stop chasing validation, your light becomes effortless. True light doesn't need a lamp, it radiates from within. The universe is teaching you a gentle but profound truth. You are complete not when you have more, but when you need less. When you no longer seek approval, you rediscover the freedom of your soul, and that's when the miracles begin, not around you, but inside you. You stop blaming. You stop comparing. You stop begging to be understood. You simply look in the mirror, smile softly, and whisper, I understand me. And the moment you do, the universe shifts in response. Those who once turned away begin to see you differently, not because you changed for them, but because your energy changed for yourself. Lost opportunities circle back, but now you don't have to hold them so tightly. Love returns not to hurt, but to heal, because once you recognize your own worth, the world mirrors it right back to you. You begin to emit the frequency of someone who knows they deserve good things, and energy always finds its match. So pause for a moment, Aries. Take a slow breath. Feel your heartbeat steady, calm, alive. That's the sound of a soul that has completed its lesson in self-worth. And as you step out of this classroom, life will hand you a new test, not to question your faith, but to see if you can hold it steady, even when what you've prayed for hasn't arrived yet. Because when you truly believe in your worth, the universe begins teaching you the art of divine patience. Patience not filled with worry, but peace, like a still lake that knows, sooner or later, the sky will always find its reflection again. There are moments in life, Aries, when you look around and realize you've gone too far to turn back, yet still haven't reached where you hope to be. Everything seems to stop. Not because you took a wrong turn, but because the universe is rearranging the path so it won't just lead you to reward, but to growth. This is test 5, the illusion of delay, the lesson of patience and faith. When you pray for a miracle, the universe never says no. It simply whispers, not yet. Because some blessings, if they arrive too soon, become burdens. Some opportunities, if they come before your heart is ready, will slip through your hands the moment you touch them. Picture a seed just planted in the soil. No matter how bright the sun, it can't bloom by tomorrow. It needs time in the dark, in the quiet, in the moist earth to grow roots that can hold the weight of the flower to come. Your life is the same. Delays aren't stagnation. They're underground seasons where everything unseen is being prepared. I know waiting is one of the hardest things for the human heart. When you're ready to love, but love hasn't arrived. When you've worked hard, but the results haven't shown. When you've prayed, but heaven is silent. In those moments, your heart trembles. Your mind starts to question. You ask, did I do something wrong? Has the universe forgotten me? But Aries, the universe never forgets a soul brave enough to believe in the dark. Waiting is the classroom where faith becomes diamond. Every time you give thanks before you see results, you train your soul to vibrate higher than doubt. Every time you hold steady in the not yet, you prove that your energy is strong enough to sustain what's coming. I've lived through those long nights of waiting, the prayers that seemed unanswered, the hopes that went quiet. But now, looking back, I understand. If those things had arrived earlier, I wouldn't have been wise enough to keep them. God isn't late, He's precise. Every pause is part of the divine equation of timing. Remember, not every silence means loss. Sometimes it's the moment the universe is fine-tuning your energy, so when the blessing comes, it doesn't just touch you, it stays. You're not being delayed, you're being prepared. When you can sit still in the storm, not begging, not pushing, but whispering, I trust, you reach the highest frequency of faith. And it's in that vibration that miracles begin to move. Maybe you've waited for someone to return, and they never did. Maybe you placed your faith in an opportunity that slipped away. But believe this, what's meant for you will never leave you. It's simply being realigned, adjusted in time and space, so it can meet the upgraded version of you. Don't count the days, Aries. Count the moments you still believed. Don't measure progress by time, measure it by the peace in your heart. Because that's how you'll know you've passed this test. The sacred exam of souls chosen to learn the art of waiting with grace. When you stop complaining about delays and start smiling, knowing everything is being refined into perfection, you rise to the frequency where miracles live. And then, one ordinary morning, no announcement, no fanfare, what you've been waiting for appears. It comes softly, like a breath of wind. But when it touches you, the entire universe inside you will tremble in recognition. That's when you'll understand nothing was ever late, nothing was ever lost. Everything has been arriving at the exact second your soul was ready. Like church bells that only ring when the world goes silent, miracles appear when you finally stop, searching out loud. Delay, it turns out, is the most sacred gift because it teaches you how to love in stillness, how to believe in the unseen, and how to give thanks before your hands ever touch the blessing. And when you stand there calm, centered, bathed in that quiet space, you'll hear it. A sound, soft and deep, rising from within, the sound of awakening. Because after patience comes the greatest test of all, forgiveness. Only when your heart stops resenting time will it have enough room to hold love. And only when you no longer fear the wait can you finally open your soul and say to the universe, I'm ready not just to receive, but to forgive. Forgiveness is never easy, Aries. Especially when the pain comes from those you once believed were safe. Maybe someone hurt you so deeply, you thought you'd never heal. A lie, a betrayal, or maybe their silence at the very moment you needed them most. But from the soul's point of view, those wounds didn't come to destroy you. They came to expand your heart, to teach you the sacred art of forgiveness, the final test of light. This is Test 6, the choice to forgive. The universe doesn't care who you loved, what you lost, or who hurt you. It only wants to know, can you keep your heart soft, even when the world turns hard? Forgiveness doesn't mean saying everything's fine. It means saying, I choose not to let the past control my present anymore. Some souls carry pain for years, like walking with a stone in the heart, not realizing how heavy it's become. Then one day, they finally let go, and feel lighter, not because the memory vanished, but because they stopped fighting what already happened. Aries. Forgiveness is the release of energy trapped in the past. Each time you whisper, I forgive, I release, your frequency rises. You step out of the circle of resentment, and the door to miracles begins to open. I know, someone may have made you lose faith, made you question your own worth. But forgiveness doesn't mean letting them back in. It means you no longer wish to hold them as a wound in your heart. You choose peace over revenge, freedom over bitterness. When you release anger, you're telling the universe, I trust divine justice more than human fairness. And in that moment, your energy ascends to the highest level, the level of light. Imagine your heart as a garden. Every resentment is a stone blocking the stream. When you remove each stone, the water flows again, fresh, natural, alive. That water is the flow of blessing. Miracles can only find their way when your heart becomes clear and soft like that stream. And sometimes, the one who hurt you is the karmic teacher sent to help you learn this lesson. Without them, you would never discover how strong your soul truly is, how deep your compassion can go. You don't need to tell them, I forgive you. Just say within, I no longer carry this. That's enough. From that moment, your energy begins to change. You'll notice the light returning. You'll sleep more peacefully. You'll smile more easily. And one day, you'll realize, you no longer speak of the wound because it has healed. Forgiveness, Aries, is not weakness. It is the declaration of a powerful soul, one that chooses freedom over chains. When you forgive, you don't lose. You win not over others but over the darkness within yourself. Forgiveness is when you look back at the past and no longer tremble. When you remember someone and, instead of pain, you smile softly as if to say, thank you. Because of you, I learned to love myself deeper. And when you truly let go, something miraculous happens. The sky feels wider. The light through your window seems brighter. Even small encounters feel meaningful again. That's not illusion, that's your energy being purified. For every soul that forgives, the universe grants a gift, peace, no more struggle, no more questions, no more why. Just a stillness deep inside, as if you are being held gently by God Himself. And within that stillness, the most beautiful thing unfolds. What you once prayed for begins to return, not in its old form, but pure, whole, serene. The right people step in, aligned opportunities appear, and you finally see every loss was simply a sacred test, clearing the way for awakening. When the heart learns to forgive, the soul naturally learns to love without fear. And when you can love without holding on, you're ready to step into a new chapter, one of light, miracles, and the deepest rebirth your spirit will ever know. Because in the end, only a heart that forgives can hear the whisper of dawn, that gentle voice saying, it's time to begin again, with a soul completely free. Aries, your journey has never been an easy one. But maybe that's exactly why, right now as you sit here, listening, your heart beats to a different rhythm, slower, deeper, brighter. Because your soul has walked a sacred circle of lessons, from silence to surrender, from waiting to forgiving, from loss to freedom. And now, as every storm fades into memory, what remains isn't ashes, it's light. You didn't just survive, you ascended. Those meaningless days, they were training your soul to stand stronger. Every tear that fell wasn't wasted, it washed away the dust of fear so your true light could be seen again. Each silence you endured was a test of faith. Each loss, a measure of love. Each waiting season, a lesson in divine surrender. And every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, you took one more step toward awakening. Now, your energy no longer calls out in desperation, it hums with peace. You no longer need to shout to be heard, because your soul itself has become a language miracles understand. You no longer chase what's meant for you, it comes to you. You no longer need to prove your worth, your belief in the light is proof enough. Aries, the universe is opening its door. Not to where you once dreamed of going, but to a higher version of yourself. The one who finally understands that real power comes not from holding on, but from trusting and letting go. From this moment forward, you're no longer seeking the light, you are the light. As you walk forward, life will start to mirror your new vibration. Opportunities that once slipped away will return this time. In peace, people who left may reappear not to take, but to complete what was unfinished. And dreams you thought had died will awaken again quietly, gently, but full of life. This is the reward of a soul that kept believing when there was no proof, that loved even when it was hurt, that rose even after falling again and again. You've passed all 6 sacred tests not for recognition, but for liberation. Because when a soul becomes free, miracles are no longer something you ask for. They become the natural reflection of your energy. You step into this new space with the calm eyes of one who finally knows. Nothing is early, nothing is late. Everything arrives exactly on time. So breathe deeply, Aries. Feel the shift in every cell. Everything old is falling away, softly like autumn leaves returning to the earth. And you, the flame of Aries, are being reborn, not into someone new, but into your truest, purest self. You'll see the world differently now, more patient, more compassionate, more grateful. You'll smile at the things that once hurt, because now you know pain never came to break you. It came to expand the capacity of your heart, to teach you how to love without fear, and to trust without evidence. This is your season, Aries, the season of light after long nights, of faith after trial, of peace after the storm. Let every breath be a thank you. Let every step be a blessing. Let every day be proof that miracles aren't far away, they are you, right here, right now. Thank you, courageous soul, for walking through the fire and keeping your heart bright. Thank you for not giving up, for choosing love over fear, for believing in light even when the world was dark. May you be peaceful, strong, and open to every miracle making its way toward you this week. And if you feel this energy in your heart, write it in the comments. I claim my miracle era. Because when you declare it, you're not just speaking to the world, you're confirming to the universe. Your rebirth has begun.